Hello and welcome to another meditation. We're going to just begin by finding that comfortable, relaxed position. For you, that might be seated comfortably in a chair or on a cushion. Or perhaps today it's best to find a reclined posture, lying on a bed or on the floor. This is your time to notice what would feel good, taking on a posture that allows it to be manageable through our practice today. And if it feels safe to do so, just invite the eyes to slowly close, knowing that at any point, if we need to open the eyes during the practice, we will do so with a soft gaze looking down. That just helps us to ground and center into the physical space. And then when we're ready, we can return to eyes closed. But allowing ourselves to be flexible and fluid through this practice. So as we start to soften our gaze, we're inviting our awareness to turn inward. Start by simply noticing the natural rhythm of the breath where nothing is forced. That steady wave of inhale and exhale. Experiencing the flow of expansion and contraction. If it feels appropriate today, just quietly commit that this breath will be your anchor for the practice. This is a place to return to whenever we notice that there's been a wandering of thought, or if any particular emotion or sensation becomes unmanageable. Let awareness rest here. It can be a home and a safe place. Just taking this time to become familiar with our inner landscape. Knowing that this is not a time to fix or judge any experience that may be present. We are coming to consciously rest as the observer to what is happening within the body, the mind, and the heart. Our particular practice today is called Soften, Soothe, and Allow. It has its roots in self-compassion, and so just letting that foundation of compassion support you as we move through. So if it feels true to do so for you and your practice, we're going to begin to just bring into the mind's eye a particular situation that has a degree of difficulty. This certainly doesn't have to be something significant, just enough that it starts to bring forth a degree of discomfort, agitation, or resistance. And for just a moment, breathe and allow this situation or individual to take focus in the mind's eye. And while continuing to hold that situation in the mind's eye, let awareness broaden, scanning from the top of the head, slowly down the body, all the way into the toes, and just noticing how the body is responding to this particular stressor. Maybe there's a noticing of sensation, of tingling, of tightness, of clenching through the jaw, the fists or the belly. A sense of rigidity to the physical form. There's certainly no experience here that can be right or wrong, good or bad. We are simply noticing. And once we've made contact with the area that is most prominent to this physical response, we're going to pause there, staying with that dominant sensation or experience in the body. Breathing that natural breath. And if we can, just very quietly offer encouragement to this particular area. And that encouragement is a slow repetition of softening. 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 Breathing and holding the intention of greater ease for this area of the body, while still allowing that situation to be present in the mind. Knowing that at any point you are more than welcome to simply return to the breath, allowing that to be enough. A beautiful and simple meditation of breathing with awareness. Noticing how the breath has the capacity to soften us naturally and organically. Continuing to soften the body as we revisit the situation in the mind. Just noticing the presence of this stressor, being willing to give it space to exist. And as we recreate clarity of this situation, begin to notice any narrative that exists, any particular thoughts that are present about this situation or individual. Knowing that there is no thought that can be right or wrong, good or bad. We are simply observing a natural state of the mind, which is to think. And by observing thought, we're creating distance, a degree of separation between us and our thoughts. And by allowing yourself to be the observer of these thoughts, you're resting and existing in great awareness. And with that awareness, you can very quietly and gently acknowledge the difficulty of these thoughts. This voice might sound like the tender tone we would use when speaking to a child we're fond of. I see that you're scared. I'm so sorry. I know this is painful. Begin with an acknowledgement. An acknowledgement that encourages the intention here of soothing. So just if it feels appropriate and in your own time, let the thought be. And just offer that intention slowly and repeatedly. Soothing. 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 Just as we start to soothe and create ease to this mental narrative, we're very lightly checking back in with the body, continuing to allow our physical form to soften, to trust the support of the surface beneath and behind. We're breathing, we're softening, and we're soothing. If we've noticed that we've wandered off into the storyline, just very easily and gently guide awareness back in. Begin with the breath, continuing to clarify and revisit that particular situation or stressor that you've consciously brought into the mind's eye. Breathing and noticing it. Softening the body's reaction. Soothing the mental commentary of the mind. And for just a moment, being with it all. And just as we continue to hold space for this situation or individual, let's broaden the awareness to drop into the experience of the heart, the emotional response. Maybe we can begin by labeling any particular feelings. Knowing that there's no feeling that can be right or wrong, good or bad. Simply the wisdom of our hearts, communicating through emotion. Breathing into the heart, creating space for all the energy that may be here. And as we breathe into this heart space, we're breathing with the intention of allowing. Allowing any and all emotions to arise and be felt. All emotions can be experienced. So if it feels appropriate to do so, just breathing and quietly repeating, allowing. Allowing, allowing. Making space for the entirety of our emotional experience. Knowing that there's space for this too. Recall that at any point, if it's needed, surrender this guidance and take refuge with the breath. And if you choose to, just think about coming on to the balcony, observing the entirety of self and this particular practice. The elements of breath, of body, mind, and heart. Noticing any wisdom that may have surfaced. Wisdom that comes in the form of sensation, of thought, and of emotion. And just for a few moments, breathing that natural breath, still making space for that situation in the mind's eye. Use this as an intention and invitation, and that is softening, soothing, and allowing. Allow the entirety of self and this experience to be just as it is. And as you stay with this experience for a few moments of silence, perhaps these simple words from Pema Chodron can offer encouragement or solace. Nothing ever goes away until it has taught us what we need to know. As long as it feels comfortable to do so, we'll keep the eyes closed. Just begin to let the experience of this practice dissolve, offering full awareness to the breath. And it feels fitting here that as we bring our time together to a close, that we end with words from Rumi. And this piece is called The Guest House. This being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat every guest honorably. He or she may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. I trust that you'll take what you need from this practice and know that you are encouraged to leave the rest. I would like to thank you for committing to have time together today. And just as you prepare to step back into your day, recognize the transition as a continuation of this practice, continuing to live and practice in a way where you soften, where you soothe, and where you allow life to be, just as it is, even for just this moment, with just this breath.